The streets above Los Angeles were drowned in rain, the kind that turns neon signs into blurry streaks of color and makes every surface slick with reflections. A cold wind howled through the alleyways, carrying the faint metallic scent of the subway far below. The 7th Street Metro Center station was almost empty, just a couple of night shift workers heading home. And a street musician who had long since stopped playing his guitar, its case snapped shut against the weather. Down. On the platform, the air was heavy with that damp underground musk. The flickering fluorescent lights gave the walls a sickly green tint. A woman in a yellow raincoat checked the arrival board. The next Red Line train, the last one for the night, was due in 6 minutes. Far in the corner, a shadow sat motionless. A hooded figure, unmoving, almost blending with the wall. They seemed to be watching, though no eyes were visible beneath the hood. The hooded figure never moved. Janitor, pushing a squeaky mop, glanced in their direction but quickly looked away. There was something off about the way they sat, head slightly tilted, body rigid, as if carved from stone. Lisa Hart stepped out of the stairwell, her umbrella dripping. She was dressed simply. Black jeans, a denim jacket, hair still damp from the rain. She was on her way back from a late-night study group at UCLA, eyes fixed on her phone, scrolling through messages. From the corner, the hooded figure's head turned, tracking her every step. Lisa didn't notice. Nobody seemed to. Lisa stood near the yellow safety line, scrolling on her phone. She glanced at the tracks. A faint rumble grew louder. The air in the tunnel seemed to shift, warmer, heavier. The LED display flickered. Last train, Red Line, North Hollywood. Behind her, the hooded figure rose to their feet, slowly, deliberately. Lisa turned slightly, sensing something. The figure froze mid-step, then melted into the crowd as a small group of passengers came down the escalator. The train's headlights cut. Through the tunnel's darkness, the sound now a low thunder. The train screeched to a halt, brakes hissing. Lisa stepped into the last car. Only 2 other passengers were inside. A man in a business suit reading a newspaper and a tired nurse with a tote bag. The hooded figure didn't board. They just stood at the edge of the platform, watching her. The doors began to close with a chime. Lisa glanced up at them, meeting their gaze for the briefest moment. Something in that look made her shiver. The doors shut. The train jerked forward, swallowed. By the tunnel's mouth, high in the control room, a night shift operator lazily sipped coffee, eyes half-focused on the security monitors. On screen, the last car disappeared into the tunnel. And then the footage stuttered. A sharp flicker. Static. A white flash. When the picture cleared, the car was empty. No Lisa, no passengers. Only the swaying of the hand straps as the train continued. The operator leaned forward, confused. He rewound the tape. Same glitch, same flash. Same impossible result. Down in the ebb. Dark tunnel. The rumble of the train faded, leaving nothing but silence. Detective Ray Delgado stood at the mouth of the 7th Street Metro Center platform. Coat collar turned up against the damp air. It was 3:42 a.m. The station officially closed. But crime scene tape now fluttered at the stairwell entrance. The scent of wet concrete and burnt dust lingered. The smell of machinery left running too long. He'd been in homicide for 15 years. But this case wasn't officially labeled a homicide. Not yet. Missing persons, they'd said. Delgado had reviewed the report. Lisa Hart, age 22, vanished on the last train. CCTV showed her boarding. It did not show her exiting. It did not show her at all after a burst of static. The platform was eerily silent without commuters. Even the usual hum of the electrical lines felt muted, as if the station itself was holding its breath. Delgado found the janitor in the staff room, sipping from a thermos. The man looked to be in his 60s, wiry, with hands rough from decades of scrubbing tiles. His name tag read Hector. "I've been here 25 years, Hector said quietly. "I've seen drunks, fights, even a guy try to live down there for a month. But this?" He shook his head. "This is different." He claimed there were nights when strange noises echoed from the tunnels, noises that didn't belong to trains. A dragging sound like something heavy being pulled. Sometimes whispers, and sometimes singing. Delgado leaned forward, singing. Hector's eyes darted toward the stairwell. "If you hear it, detective, don't follow it." Later that morning, Delgado interviewed a 16-year-old skateboarder named Alex. The kid had been hanging around the station the night Lisa disappeared, sneaking down after hours. His voice shook as he recounted what he'd seen. "I was hiding behind the vending machine," Alex said. "I saw the girl, the one on the news, get on the last car, but I also saw someone pull her back. Not into the car, into the wall." Delgado frowned. "The wall?" Alex nodded quickly, like, "It opened for a second, then it was gone." The boy's skateboard lay across his lap, his fingers nervously tapping against it. In the Metro security office, Delgado asked to review the raw CCTV footage himself. "Ooh." The operator hesitated. This wasn't standard procedure, but eventually queued up the recording, frame by frame. Delgado watched Lisa step into the train car. At timestamp, 2 hours, 13 minutes and 42 seconds, the image warped. The screen showed the train in the tunnel, lights flickering, then a blinding white flash. When the picture returned, the car was empty. He rewound and zoomed in on the split second before the flash. There. In the window reflection, a shape that wasn't supposed to be there. Long, spindly fingers reaching in from the darkness. The janitor's keyring was heavier than it looked, but Hector seemed to know each key by touch. He led Delgado down a maintenance corridor, the air colder with every step. They stopped at an unmarked metal door. "This ain't on the maps," Hector muttered. He turned the key. Beyond the door stretched a narrow tunnel, its walls covered in faded graffiti. Some of the markings were fresh, others so old they looked like ancient symbols. Air smelled of rust and something faintly sweet, like overripe fruit. Delgado's flashlight beam caught the edge of a set of footprints in the dust. Small, sneaker-sized, fresh. The air inside the hidden tunnel was colder than the platform above. Detective Delgado's breath fogged in the beam of his flashlight. 2 officers followed close behind, their boots crunching on gravel and debris. The walls here were narrower, almost claustrophobic, with old utility pipes overhead dripping condensation. The further they walked, less the sound of the city reached them. No train rumble, no electrical hum, just the echo of their own footsteps. Something about the silence felt wrong, too complete, as if the world above had ceased to exist. About 50 yards in, Delgado spotted strange markings on the tunnel walls. At first glance, they looked like graffiti tags, looping letters, random shapes. But on closer inspection, some were carved deep into the concrete, edges weathered and worn. Others were painted in a black, so matte it seemed to swallow light. One officer traced a finger over a circular symbol intersected by jagged lines. "These aren't gang tags," Delgado muttered. "They're older." The air seemed heavier here, thick with the faint smell of iron. The first whisper was so faint that Delgado thought he imagined it, a soft, drawn-out sound, like fabric brushing stone.
Ow.
Then came another. This time, it was unmistakable. The 2 officers froze. The whispering wasn't coming from behind them. It was ahead, deeper in the darkness. "Anyone else hearing that?" one officer asked. Delgado just nodded, tightening his grip on the flashlight. The sound grew, overlapping voices now, low and unintelligible, a chorus of something. Not quite human. The tunnel opened suddenly into a large space, an abandoned subway platform covered in decades of dust. Old wooden benches sat rotting, and rusted metal signage hung crooked from the ceiling. But something didn't fit. On the dusty floor, clear as day, were footprints. Not just one set, many. Some led to the far edge of the platform, disappearing into a black void where the tracks should have been. "This place isn't supposed to exist," one officer whispered. In the corner of the abandoned station sat an old, toppled CCTV camera, lens cracked but still faintly glowing. Delgado crouched beside it and tapped the casing. To his surprise, static flickered across the shattered screen. Then, Without warning, it played a video. Lisa Hart, stepping into the train. But the footage was reversed. She moved backward, away from the car, and into the darkness of the tunnel, vanishing into shadow. When the loop ended, the screen went black. The footprints led to a narrow service stairway at the far end of the abandoned platform. Delgado descended slowly, each step groaning under his weight. The light from his flashlight seemed weaker here, the beam fading faster than it should. Air grew warmer, almost humid, carrying a faint smell of candle wax. Behind him, the two officers exchanged uneasy glances. Somewhere ahead, a low hum vibrated through the walls. It wasn't mechanical, it was live. The stairwell opened into a vast underground hall. The ceiling arched high above, supported by blackened steel beams. Dozens of candles lined the walls, their flames trembling in unseen drafts. At the center of the room sat an old subway car. Ancient, battered, covered in rust and strange painted symbols. Lisa Hart was inside. She sat perfectly still, eyes wide open, as if frozen in time around the car. Faint shapes shifted in the candlelight, silhouettes too thin, too tall to be human. From the darkness at the far end of the chamber, the hooded figure stepped forward. Delgado could now see a pale, almost waxen face beneath the hood, eyes like dull glass marbles. "You shouldn't have come here," the figure said, voice echoing unnaturally. "She belongs to the tunnels now." Delgado raised his weapon, but his hands felt heavy, sluggish. The figure smiled without moving their lips, the expression stretching too far to be natural. The figure's voice filled the hall, resonating from the steel beams themselves. "You can take her place," it whispered, "and she will be returned. Or you can leave and never find her again." Delgado's flashlight flickered. At Lisa, her lips moved, forming a single word: run. He knew that if he ran, he'd survive. But the memory of her frozen eyes would haunt him forever. Slowly, he lowered the gun. Weeks later, the case was quietly closed as unsolved. Official reports claimed the security footage was corrupted. Lisa Hart's name faded from the news. But sometimes, late at night, a red line train glides through the 7th Street Metro, Center Station without stopping. Passengers swear they see a young woman in one of the windows staring out with unblinking eyes. And behind her, in the reflection, a hooded figure sits perfectly still,